Through desert and stars, the testimony of a wise man. I speak now as one who followed a star, but long before that, I followed questions. I was not born wise, only hungry. Hungry for truth, hungry for meaning, and hungry for the God who writes this story across the skies. I belong to a brotherhood of seekers, men who studied scrolls and stars, prophecies and patterns, ancient words and heavenly signs. We lived in the East, in a land of kings, scholars, and temples, far from Jerusalem, far from the God of Israel, but not far from his reach. For years I searched for a promise, buried in old writings, a prophecy whispered around campfires, by travelers and merchants and wandering teachers. A star will rise from Jacob, a scepter shall come out of Israel. Some dismissed it as a myth, some mocked it as superstition, but something in my spirit trembled whenever I read those words, something ancient and something holy. And then, one night, the sky changed. Not gradually, but subtly, but suddenly, violently, and gloriously. A star appeared, a star unlike anything in our charts, our scrolls, our records, or our memories. It burned with purpose. It pulsed with message. It summoned. And I knew, as surely as I know my own name, the King has been born. Not a king, the King. The long-awaited Messiah. The ruler heaven sends, not men appoint. I fell to my knees under the weight of it. Around me, my companions whispered, eyes shining with awe and fear. The star, the prophecy, could it be now? Could it be him? And then, without debate, without delay, we packed our bags and saddled our camels. We left home, comfort, reputation, and everything familiar, to follow a light into the unknown. The desert is a merciless teacher. By day, the sun scorched our skin until it cracked. By night, the cold crawled into our bones. Sandstorms swallowed the horizon. Thieves lurked near the trade routes, and wild animals prowled the darkness. But the star never moved. It stood like a pillar of fire, guiding us through lands not our own. People laughed at us. Some called us mad. Some called us sorcerers, chasing illusions. But when God calls a man from the inside, he cannot be swayed from the outside. The star pulled us forward, mile after mile, until the world behind us vanished. After many weeks, dust-covered and tired, we reached Jerusalem, the place any foreigner would naturally expect to find a newborn king. We walked into the city openly, boldly, because in our minds, this was a celebration. We thought the whole nation already knew. Where is he? We asked joyfully. Where's the one who has been born King of the Jews? We had seen his star in the east, and we have come to worship him. But instead of excitement, we were met with confusion. Fearful whispers spread through the streets. Eyes widened. Doors closed. Something felt wrong. And then we were summoned to Herod, a king on the throne, but not king with a star. His smile was thin, his questions were sharp, and his eagerness felt forced. Go and find him, he said, and when you found the child, tell me, so that I may worship him too. But even before we turned to leave, the truth sat heavy in our hearts. Herod did not want to worship the king. He wanted to kill him. Light always reveals darkness, and darkness always fears the light. We stepped out of Herod's palace, troubled, uncertain, our hearts clenched with unease. But then, the star reappeared, not like before, fixed in the sky, but moving. Moving forward, moving with purpose, and moving straight ahead of us, as though heaven itself was walking. We gasped, we cried, and some of us fell to the ground, because we understood. We were not following a star. We were being led by God. It guided us to a humble village, Bethlehem. Not the palace we expected, not the fortress Herod occupied, not the cradle of kings, but the resting place of shepherds and peasants. And then it stopped, right above one modest home. We approached slowly, reverently, our bodies trembling, our breath caught in our throats. A man opened the door, gentle, protective, and watchful, and behind him sat a young woman with eyes like quiet rivers, and in her arms, the child. The one we crossed deserts to find, the one prophets saw from afar, the one the star announced. Not wrapped in royal clothes, but in swaddling cloth. Not surrounded by guards, but by silence. And not sitting on a throne, but in his mother's lap. And yet, I knew I was standing before the highest king. My knees buckled. I fell to the ground, and tears blurred my vision. I placed my forehead to the floor because I could not bear the weight of his presence. We offered him gifts, gold for his kingship, frankincense for his deity, and myrrh for his sacrifice. But what are gifts to the God who created gold? What is incense to the one who formed the trees? And what is myrrh to the child born to die? We gave our treasures, but he gave us revelation. He did not speak, but his silence spoke everything. This child, this quiet, fragile, tiny child, was the promise of ages. A king whose power is humility, a savior whose throne is a manger, a redeemer who could conquer, not with armies, but with love. I came seeking a king. I found God in flesh. I came to honor royalty. I met the Savior of the world. I came following a star. I left following the light of life. I was called a wise man, but wisdom is not knowing great things. Wisdom is knowing when God is speaking and following him no matter where he leads. I crossed deserts. I faced danger. I endured hardship. And I would do it 1,000 times more just to kneel before the child again. For in that home, in that moment, I understood. All of history bends toward him. All prophecy points to him. All wisdom leads to him, and all light reveals him. And the greatest journey a man can ever take is one that ends at the feet of Jesus. From the point of view of a wise man. God bless you and have a good day.